This week in WWE, we saw some stuff start to transpire when it comes to the road to WrestleMania. Brandon was wrong in the sense
Yeah.
of Cody
Yeah.
Rhodes not winning the championship on SmackDown. He did indeed win the championship on SmackDown. And I don't want to say I was wrong yet, but I'm kind of preemptively saying I might be wrong in the sense that once Cody Rhodes did win, and we've now had a few days since that time, I'm starting to believe that maybe actually a multi-man match isn't going to happen and it's going to be
Told
Cody
you.
Rhodes versus Randy Orton. And the reason I kind of say that is because they've spent a few days to let this breathe, unlike what they did Elimination Chamber, where they immediately put Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre in the title match on SmackDown. So they didn't let anybody have any time to think that that's your main event, right? They immediately were like, don't even put the poster up yet. It's not determined because we've got this turmoil. But they started to now already advertise. Like when Cody Rhodes won it, Triple H put up the marquee of Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and essentially said, this is your night one main event. And by doing that and essentially, really putting it out there and not being like, this is your night one main event as of now, or it seems like this is what it's going to be, like as of starting to really advertise it, it just seems to solidify it. I guess my thing is there enough heat in Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu, especially with Drew McIntyre coming off of just winning the championship and all the time it took for him to win the title? I mean, it's going to be tough for me to see him all of a sudden not care about the championship. Be like, yeah, I don't care about the championship. I want Jacob Fatu more
No,
than anything
here's the thing. I'll
immediately.
disagree. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, not completely, but a little bit. I think he can change his focus because he's so fired up about Jacob Fatu and his involvement and costing him, his title and all that. I feel like in the forefront for WrestleMania season, which is obviously right around the corner here. I mean, we're in March already, so I mean,
Mm-hmm.
April's literally next month. So I think Drew can. I think you can buy it. And then once he settles what he needs to settle with Jacob Fatu, then maybe when SummerSlam comes around, maybe he turns his focus between WrestleMania and SummerSlam back into the main event picture, looking at it, trying to get his title back. Because, I think you're right with the Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes. I will agree with you because I did disagree with you last week. I wasn't buying that multi-person match. I wasn't buying it. And I'm glad you're seeing that. I think you're seeing that a little bit now because
I mean,
here's
I'm
here's
seeing it as a multi-person match. I could see it definitely happening. Drew McIntyre's owed a rematch. Jacob Fatu's obviously right in the
hey,
mix. It's
just
not like
remember
they're
though,
just throwing someone in there. It seems
OG.
organic.
Yeah, but here's the thing. OG wrestling fans, ones that have been watching the product for the last 15, 20 years. I mean, people know the connection, people that have watched it. Like I watched it in live time when I was a teenager, late teens, early 20s. I watched Legacy, which was made up of
Mhm.
Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and Ted DiBiase Jr. But obviously the focus here is Cody and Randy. And that's the thing. Randy was the leader of that group. So it's like, in a way, I'm curious to see how they're going to play that because obviously they're good friends. Like we've seen that. We've seen the like the whole, they're brothers to an extent. They're not blood, but they're brothers in a way. I'm looking forward to that because I didn't think Drew was going to lose last week. I will 100% take that. Like I didn't see that happening. But now that we have that, it got the wheels turning for me. And I'm looking forward to seeing Cody and Randy take it personal and really kind of go at each other and set up what's going to be the main event of night one of WrestleMania.
I think part of the reason too, obviously, where you said, Drew McIntyre, you thought he might win, but obviously we've talked about this already in length about, the ticket sales and the lack of draw and returning to the same place. WWE not just thinking maybe that, it was Cody should beat Drew McIntyre just, for the sake of it. But I also think maybe too, they were looking a little bit at, hey, I think we could use a more marquee matchup. I don't think Drew versus Randy
Drew's
Orton or
not
Drew
drawing
versus
it,
anybody is going to move tickets.
which is
So we need
unfortunate
him to
because I don't.
move.
It's not Drew's fault. I think it's more the
No, it's
ticket price
not.
than anything. They're just
But
using that as an excuse. I feel like.
listen, and I think when a year when you have like a super strong, Rock, Cena, Taker, those kind of people already involved in the card all over the place, you can have yourself Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold as your main event of night one of WrestleMania or something like that. like a segment or something when you have a very
Hey,
strong card and you got.
don't bring up Stone Cold Steve Austin right now, okay? Because Monday Night Raw is on 316, so I'm kind of hoping he shows up, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, I think a lot of people in the WWE are actually thinking maybe he shows up. At least that's the rumor, and that'll help ticket sales. At least if he talks about being involved at WrestleMania. Wasn't it last year? He actually drove the little thing into the person on the barricade there.
Yeah, I think.
Got a little out of control with the four wheeler.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He hit. Yeah. I think that. I don't know. I wonder what happened to that person that was damaged, so to speak. Of that. I'm not. I
Well,
never followed up with that.
if they're sitting there and they paid for their tickets, I think financially they're already doing okay. So they probably didn't really ask for much. They weren't looking for a windfall there. It seems like they've already got a windfall if you're sitting front row at WrestleMania, at least, especially
They
last
probably
year.
just got comped some stuff, maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe some T-shirts, maybe a picture with Stone Cold in the back. It's crazy because actually thinking about, we're talking about WrestleMania. That was 1 year ago. 1 year ago now was the entire month of March. Which, if you remember, the entire month of March, every Raw and every SmackDown was in Europe, and because it's new to Netflix, every Raw and every SmackDown was at the earlier times, at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, throughout the entire month. Obviously, we weren't used to that before. That was a whole new thing to Netflix. And every single Monday Night Raw at 3 o'clock, it seemed to like we're tuning in to see how John Cena's heel turn is going because he's brand new on the run. I think it was when he made, they put the camera on that boy in Belgium about 1 year ago at this time. And he talked about ruining wrestling for everybody. I think he made up with that kid when WWE went back to Belgium later on in the year. But yeah, it's just crazy. That was 1 year ago that John Cena, the heel turn, and the trip of Europe, through London and Brussels and Germany. He was doing that and taking the heel turn through that whole month there. But yeah, I think Cody and Randy is a great main event. It's just strange also too because like I said, I get it. You don't necessarily want a multi-man. I think if they made a multi-man, it's not like making a multi-man because someone's hurt. It's organic. There's reasons everyone should be involved. So it's not like what we just saw at Elimination Chamber, where Bronson Reed's supposed to be there and he just gets hurt, and Jey Uso's on, in there. But you look at the poster and Bronson Reed was supposed to be in there, or back in the day when Kurt Angle was a member of the Shield because somebody was hurt that night. It's not like that. It's not one of those made up kind of things. It works. They all belong. They all got their reasons to be there. Cody's a champ.
Yeah.
Drew's the looking for revenge and revenge on Cody. Jacob Fatu wants revenge on Cody and Drew McIntyre, and then they both want it on him. Randy Orton won the Elimination Chamber, and he's got beef. I get all that. I get though why you wouldn't. Right, I get it. It's more of a marquee, Cody versus Randy, and once they put that out there and they started to sell that, it's hard to deviate. Once you put Rock and Austin on the poster, it's hard for me to go, oh, are they going to throw in CM Punk? Like, it's hard for me to think that once you've started to go down that route. I will say it's unique though because, well, we've got four faces essentially heading into these main events of WrestleMania. So I'll ask you this question right now with what we know: are all four going to be going into WrestleMania as baby faces?
No, I think CM Punk is definitely going to be the heel. I think out of the group, I think he is. And to be honest, on the other side, because I feel like you need to have, I think you need to have one heel, one face in this situation, like on each marquee match. I think it would be interesting to see Cody Rhodes go heel. I really would, because I think a good babyface run potentially as champion with Randy Orton would be cool. So I'll say this: I think heel Cody Rhodes, but I think the most likely scenario of all of it is I think CM Punk is definitely turning heel. I really feel that. I mean, if you caught the interaction on Monday Night Raw this week, where he's like, "I'm not apologizing for nothing," kind of like the whole thing when the Usos were like, "You need to apologize." And it's so funny watching Jay just kind of pace around, like getting all mad, and then Big Jim is sitting there kind of, all right, you just apologize, And it was just like, and then at the end of it, like CM Punk did a heelish thing, and then he got his face kicked. So I mean, I think I feel like in a way, I feel like that's WWE's slight hinting, like they're kind of showing their hand a little bit, tipping their hand just a touch, saying, "Hey, Roman's going in as baby face, and I think CM Punk is going to go in heel."
I mean, CM Punk isn't wrong. That's the problem with making him a heel, though, because he's not doing things that are as we've seen yet, right? He's not doing things completely. He's just being CM Punk. He's telling it how it is, right?
But
Roman Reigns
but
obviously had all
in
those
the
negative things to say about Dusty Rhodes and stuff like that. So
here's the
he's
thing
just
though,
saying,
the way he's doing it though, like there's like he's always walked that line. I feel like he's going over that heel line right now. I just like not backing down and apologizing. Even if he just apologized to Jimmy and Jay and didn't like and said, I'm not going to apologize to Roman and apologize to obviously the
"Mhm."
late great Sika. Obviously you do that then you're good. Then it's to me then you're still saving face so to speak. But because he doubled down and got a double kick to the face, I feel like that to me tips the hand, and I think that's heelish. That's heelish behavior to me.
I'm wondering how. I mean, Cody Rhodes. We'll see how they try to make him heel.
I
I
mean,
don't necessarily know if
they
it's
could play off the
tough.
legacy thing where like Randy could be like, remember, I was the leader of the group kind of a thing, and then
Well,
they
then
could.
I think then Randy'd be heel if that's the case, right? If Randy's
Well, I no, I
putting
mean he
Cody in
could.
his
I mean
place.
he could like the thing with Randy is Randy could do it in a way like hey, I always looked at you like a little brother. You know what I mean? Like because like obviously Randy's older than Cody and this and that, and he was in the business a few years ahead of Cody. So I always he could kind of like yeah you're like a little brother to me, and then Cody could kind of be like I'm not just your don't call me your little brother, and like kind of you know turn it up and be like you were never like my little brother. I have an older brother. I don't have you. Like you could turn it into that, and we'll see how it plays out. Me personally, like I just want to see Cody as heel. Like I just think that would be fun. Obviously, just don't botch it like they botched John Cena's heel turn.
Oh,
Like
well,
let's make
yeah.
sure it's good.
I mean, it was a fine heel turn. They just, as we talked about, how they got to follow it up. Especially
They
too
didn't
when you
do
have a
it
time
perfectly.
frame to follow it up. John Cena's retiring. We know what day he's retiring. He's only got so many months left. How are you going to do it? And they just didn't know how to do it. And they
They
just
didn't do
said
it
it.
well.
They just turned it off. It was like a switch. They just said, "Nah, it's over," and that was
Yeah, I
it.
don't like it.
Yeah,
That's good.
no natural progression. At least Cody and Randy, if they stick around for a little bit, you can have an exit strategy, if you will, with any of them becoming heels.